What's going on, guys? Seth and Chevy here doing a TLG Reacts for the Developer Direct 2025 Xbox put out earlier today. I think neither of us avoided the internet today, so I think we pretty much know at least what they showed off here. I didn't watch anything.
I didn't watch anything either.
So this will all be like a blind reaction, but I do know a couple things got showed off that I am actually pretty interested in. And yeah, looking forward to watching this. I'm not going to speculate here because I basically know what they're going to show here. But yeah, I completely forgot this is coming up. Yesterday I found out, I was like, oh shit, we got something to react to, so that's cool. Real quick reminder before we jump into this, though, we have done a reaction discussion on the Switch 2 that was announced. Go watch that video if you want to hear our thoughts on it. I think we had a really good conversation. That video is not getting pushed for some reason on YouTube, so if you haven't seen it or got recommended to watch or anything like that, go check it out. It's a good episode. And then we also did a taste cast that is doing pretty well right now, so I'm happy to see that. Go watch that if you haven't. And then we did our Game of the Year discussion with Cody and Josh.
We did.
So you guys should definitely watch that. It was a really fun conversation. We go through runner-ups, Game of the Year. We talked about our regrets in 2024. We talked about our biggest disappointments, which I actually just uploaded a clip of that if you want to watch that, of us just basically complaining about games that came out in 2024 and mostly devs, and Josh kind of went off on a tangent that I think was therapeutic for him. So if you're interested in that, go watch that. But since all that, we've been filming stuff. We had a late start this month, but we've got stuff out. We're gonna have more stuff coming out soon. We got to go do Tasty Flicks here soon as well. How you doing, and are you ready to watch this shit?
I'm doing good. Yeah, I had no idea this was coming until, I think also yesterday. And then I was just like, well, okay.
Yeah, it was completely off my radar.
So,
I think I heard like a month ago or something that there's going to be a direct, but completely forgot about it. So,
well, it's also kind of funny because I think we recently were talking and brought up that had no idea what Xbox was even doing at this point, because the last like big project I could remember was
Indiana Jones.
Is out. So this will be good to kind of touch bases and see what the plan is, at least for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, because I don't even know what to expect from them outside of rumors of their handheld, and they're going to be bringing games to PlayStation. But like, what are they making? What can we look forward to when it comes to devs under Xbox? So this will be a good refresher and reveal.
Yeah, I mean, especially them definitely like hard landing into being more of a provider and less of a like exclusive place. But you're seeing that from Sony a little bit as well, so it's just kind of becoming more common.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, good. You're doing good. I am doing good as well. Very tired because my sleep schedule has been fucked lately, but whatever. We're gamers. We don't sleep. And with that, we should just watch this and react to it. This is the Xbox Developer Direct 2025. In 3, 2, 1, and go.
Captions on.
Maybe people will want to read it.
I mean, fair.
Millennials and Gen Z watch shit with subtitles.
They can still turn them on, actually.
True.
Or they'll be auto-generated.
I'll have to compete between us and the video, though.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see how the next Doom is received, because I thought the first of the remakes was pretty decent, but the second one I thought was like not as good. So we'll see.
Just throwing them all out there, huh?
Except for the mystery one that I already know.
Yeah.
Well, we're just jumping into it.
I'll say if that's the only surprise, I already know this one too. So
I haven't seen this, but I'm kind of excited because Team Ninja just hasn't made anything in a while.
It's just so funny to see that splash reel.
Yeah.
Not splash reel. You know what I mean?
One new DOA. Yeah.
こんにちは、光栄テクモゲームズチーム忍者の安田文彦です。今日は皆様にチーム忍者が長く大切にしてきたアクションシリーズの新情報を発表できる機会をいただけてとても嬉しく思います。早速ですが、こちらをご覧ください。
We're just jumping in, huh?
Yeah, I said no BS there.
Several years ago, the Dark Dragon, youngest of the divine dragon gods, wreaked havoc across the world. The plot was ultimately thwarted through the efforts of a sole ninja. However, the Dark Dragon's husk remained, and from this husk fell an endless downpour of cursed rain. The abandoned Tokyo continues its struggle against chaos to this day.
Infiltrated the facility. Commencing mission.
Platinum, huh?
I don't think they make it in this, did they?
Oh, I saw an X. Somebody said that the team that worked on Metal Gear Revengeance is working with Koei Tecmo and Team Ninja. Which this looks like a Platinum Games game.
It does.
It's been a while since we've gotten a game like this. Like this is taken back to like the
360, isn't it?
360 and Xbox days.
It looks pretty good. That's absolutely fun.
Yeah.
Ryu Hayabusa.
Whatever your clan is plotting, it ends here.
Dang.
Hell yeah, dude. This is so Platinum and Team Ninja.
Raven.
Fuck off, Hayabusa. I will execute my mission.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I honestly
世
didn't
界中
expect
の
to
町
ever
人
see
の
that
皆さん
again.
10年以上大変お待たせしま
I
し
was
た。
waiting for it.
最
People
強の
love
忍者とな
Ninja
り
Gaiden.
容赦なく襲い来る敵に挑むハイスピードアクション忍者ガイデンの
It's cool they're
ナンバ
making
ー
like a
最新作として
sequel, not
忍者
just
ガイ
like
デ
a
ン4を
reboot.
発表させていただきました。本作はプラチナゲームズさんとの協業で開発を進めています。
What was the last game Team Ninja made? Was that
プラチナゲームズさんのアクションゲームというジャンルにおける実績は今でもなく、
didn't
ベヨネッタや
Team
ニアオー
Ninja
トマ
make
タなど
Neo?
素晴らしいアクションタイトルを目指してこ
But
ら
they
れ
made
ま
the
した。
Chinese one too?
I think so.
忍者ガイデン4というタイトルを10年以上の時を超えて新たに皆様にお届けするにあたり、より多くの方に新鮮な気持ちでプレイしていただけるよう、新たな世界を新主人公であるもう一人の町人ヤクモで冒険するという形で制作することにしました。先ほどご覧いただいた映像の中で竜ハヤブサも登場しておりましたが、彼は今回も物語に密接に関わってきます。なぜヤクモと戦うことになったのか、竜ハヤブサが戦う目的は何なのか、本作の物語の中で展開していきます。
任務は必ず成し遂げる。邪魔をするな。
物語は黒龍がもたらした正気の雨によって荒廃した首都東京が舞台となっています。
I still remember when
この雨は黒龍がまだ生
Ninja
きている
Gaiden came
証で
out
あり、
and people were complaining about
雨
it
が
being
止ま
too
ない
hard
限
and
り
they made it
東京に
harder.
安寧は訪れません。
Especially in a post-Dark Souls world, I can see them making it difficult.
今
I
作
don't know
の
if that
新主人
director's
公であり、
still working on it.
ハヤブ
That
サ
was
と
like a
対をなす
specific guy.
カラ
Yeah,
ス一門
sure,
に
but
所属す
they
る
can
ヤ
still
クモ
have
が
the same philosophy
首都
behind
東京
making a
で
challenging
黒龍を
game.
倒し、この世界を晴らすため戦いに身を投じます。
これまで忍者ガイデンシリーズで描かれてきたダークでハードな世界観は継承し、そこにさらに危機を感じさせる要素として呪いやより混沌とした景観のデザインを取り入れています。ステージプレイ中に 街が呪いの影響を受けビルは崩れ
I love how
道は
like
歪
old
み
school this
ヤ
game
クモをピンチに陥
feels
れることでし
or
ょう
seems
舞台
while
となる
being
東京は
modern looking.
とある出来事によって街全体が崩壊し魔族やヤクモと敵対する勢力がひしめき合う状態になっており環境全体がプレイヤーに牙を向くように感じられるはずです前作より立体的に自由度の増した危険に満ちたステージで忍具や
Fucking
シ
waste no
リ
time.
ーズおなじみの体術など忍者アクションを駆使して乗り越えていくことになりますレールアクションスイングアクションなどのダイナミックで爽快なシチュエーションを多く追加しましたこれら以外にも様
What's
々な
that
シチュエーシ
first
ョン
person
やチャレン
cyberpunk
ジ
game where he plays
されたアイ
the
テムな
cyber
どを用
ninja?
意しておりステージが進むごとに上がっていくテンションにも
Something runner.
驚いていただけると思います
Yeah, why can't I remember the name of it? Anyway, this is reminding me of that, but
新しい主人公
You
の
don't
ヤクモ
die in
は
one hit?
旧
yeah.
ハヤブサに次ぐ新たな町人です。彼にはまだ若さも残っていますが、カラス一門を背負う天才忍者でもあり、忍者ガイデンシリーズにおける忍者の頂点、竜と肩を並べる次世代の町人たり得る人物としてデザインしています。そんなヤクモの前に立ちふさがるのは荒れ果てた東京の治安維持組織であり、黒竜の封印を守る
Like how
竜
Tokyo's
神
just
島
full
や
of like
現世に蔓延する
Ninjas
人ならざる者妖魔、そしてもちろんシリーズおなじみの魔人も登場しますまた現時点では公開していませんが、新たなキャラクターやシリーズファンの方に喜んでいただける人物も登場しますので、続報にご期待ください。
従来のシリーズからバトルスピードをさらに加速させ、目にも止まらぬスピードで敵との攻防を繰り広げることができます。さらにヤクモが使える新要素、結節忍術ヌエの型を駆使したダイナミックな攻撃によって、これまでから大きく進化した1対他の戦闘を可能にしました。ヌエの型ではこれまでの忍者ガイデンにはない広範囲かつ一撃必殺の攻撃となっており、多勢に無勢の状態が長く続く戦況を一気に覆すことができます。もちろん1対1の戦闘における比率も健在です。プレイヤー同様、敵もガードや回避をしてくるため、緊張感のあるフェアな戦闘を味わうことができます。敵の動きをしっかりと捉えながら、一瞬の隙を逃さずに攻撃を仕掛けていくことが重要です。ヌエの型によって忍者ガイデンのアクションの味わいにさらなる進化を感じられるかと思います。
It's an interesting visual effect
特
they
に
do.
アクションに関
Kill
しては
people.
手触り、バランス調整など細部にわたり日々議論させていただき、会社の垣根を越えた密なやり取りをさせていただいています。本作の主人公であるヤクモは竜とは一味違うアクションを有していますが、その中でもしっかりと忍者ガイデンらしさを感じていただけると思います。
I mean, it looks like it.
例えばカラス、ヌエ、2つの型があるという点がヤクモの大きな特徴ですが、それらが持つ多彩な性能のアクションを用いて敵や状況ごとに使い分ける攻略の深みや滅却、絶技などを絡めた抑揚あるスピーディーな攻防などはもちろんヤクモでも健在です。
ヤクモと竜ハヤブサはそれぞれがかなり異なる個性的な遊び心地になっていますので、さまざまな戦闘バリエーションを楽しむことができるようになっています。
Should be though, because the older ones were, and you can do so much more now.
ヤクモ、そして竜ハヤブサの双方で飛燕、イズナ落としなどシリーズおなじみのアクションも駆使しつつ、新アクションを織り交ぜた新しい忍者ガイデンにご期待ください。
It's interesting to see it again.
忍者ガイデンシリーズに色濃く残っている歯ごたえやグレードの高いアクション体験の継承、さらに我々プラチナゲームズの特徴であるスピーディーなアクションやダイナミックな演出も取り入れ、進化した正当続編を作り上げるべく総力を挙げて開発を進めております。
容赦ない敵とのいかなる攻防にもフェアに戦える手触りをヤクモでも目指しています。皆様に進化した忍者ガイデンを触っていただける日を楽しみにしています。
シリーズファンはもちろんのこと、忍者ガイデンを初めてプレイする方でも存分に楽しめる作品になっておりますので、 ぜひ
I'll
発
be
売
curious
を
to
お
see
待
how
ちくだ
this
さい
is
長年にわたってプラ
received.
チナゲームズさんと共にまさに忍者のように潜んで忍者ガイデン4の開発を進めてきましたが、
Yeah, though I
ついに
think
発表することができて非常に嬉しく思います。 2025年秋に本作を皆様にお届けできるのを楽しみにしています。続報にもぜひご期待ください。
Wukong and Stellar Blade and stuff like that all being positively received. I think it has a pretty good shot right now.
さて本日お
Well,
伝えしたい
Ninja
発
Gaiden
表
was
はそれ
fucking
だけではあり
huge.
ません。
Like they've
こちらを
re-released
ご覧
them
ください。
multiple times.
Well, sure, but I mean, since that's come out, I mean,
Yeah.
there's a whole new generation of gamers now. So
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. We're so far now, like with the new gamers, that some of that's been forgotten.
I saw this too.
Yeah, I think I saw this too.
This is currently available now.
Oh, they just dropped it. Yeah, I think I read that it's on Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah, it's not Unreal beginning.
Yeah, I just didn't know if it was confirmed or not, if it was 5 or not. But this looks fucking way better than it did.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they did one of these in Unreal Engine 5.
All paths before me are cruel and arduous. Our time has come.
Ninja Gaiden 2のオリジナル版は2008年に Xbox360 で発売し、バイオレンスな表現とハイスピードなバトルを皆様にお楽しみいただいた作品です。
I remember that one not being
Ninja Gaiden 2ブラック
as
では
well
オリジナル
received.
版の表現に立ち戻り、Unreal
old
Engine
story.
5を用いてグラフィックを大幅に刷新、Ninja Gaiden 2の完全版として開発いたしました。美麗なグラフィックでお楽しみいただけるのはもちろん、リュウハヤブサに加え、綾音、もみじ、レイチェルもプレイブルキャラクターとして登場します。そして本作は本日コンソール、PC、そして Xbox ゲームパスでこの後すぐに発売となります。忍者ガイデンシリーズを長年応援いただいている皆様はもちろんのこと、本日忍者ガイデンを知っていただいた皆様も忍者ガイデン4の発売前にぜひ本作をお楽しみください。今年はチーム忍者創立30周年の節目であり、本日発表させていただいた忍者ガイデン4を含め2025年は忍者の年、イヤーオブザ忍者となります。
Yeah, honestly.
ぜひ忍者ガイデンシリーズの展開にご注目ください。本日はありがとうございました。
That's cool. It's coming out this year.
Yeah.
Oh, that looks pretty good.
It did for sure.
And I'm kind of excited that Platinum's in on it too.
Yeah, they've had that kind of a rocky patch there for a bit, so.
Yeah. I feel so mixed with this game.
Yeah. Same.
Hi, and welcome to Compulsion Games here in Montreal, Canada. At our studio, we care about world building, and we treat the setting almost like a character of its own. From the magical noir of contrast to the alternate history of We Happy Few, we draw inspiration from the landscape to shape mood, drama, and intrigue. For South of Midnight, our third-person action-adventure game, the story and characters bring a folkloric Deep South to life. This gave us a chance to explore Southern Gothic themes with a dark fantasy twist. So while our protagonist Hazel is at the forefront of our story, it's the macabre elements and larger-than-life creatures that will leave a mark on her journey and growth.
It is really picking up out there. Did you pack everything?
The stuttering appearance.
This ain't my first
Yeah.
hurricane. I know what to do. As long as you didn't forget the flashlights and batteries. Oh, shoot, we got 5 minutes. Let's go.
We wouldn't be rushed if you didn't.
Don't mumble. Speak on it.
I said we wouldn't be rushed if you didn't waste all that time at the shelter.
Now, you want to bring this up right now.
I'm just saying.
Hazel, please.
We might need some help. I might need some help. While you're out helping everybody else.
Hazel!
Dang, here's my break.
True.
Mama!
Hazel may start her journey as a typical 19-year-old, but disastrous events will push her into a darkly magical world where she'll learn who she really is and how to tap into weaving, an ancient magical power that redefines her trajectory in life.
The land itself chooses Hazel as a weaver. Someone who can see beyond the surface and tap into a deeper reality, the grand tapestry. Weavers can see the fabric binding our world, connecting people, nature, and echoes of the past.
Keep those hands to yourself.
Hazel can perceive both the mystical strands and stigmas in the world. Through her newfound power, she reweaves these stigmas and mends the afflicted creatures she encounters.
Man, if it wasn't for frame rate, it actually seems
As Hazel
pretty
discovers her
interesting.
power,
Yeah.
the
It really drives
world
you crazy to
gradually
look at.
shifts into the surreal, revealing that creatures from the old folktales actually exist.
You up here, my salvation.
Among them is good old Catfish, the storyteller who becomes both the guide and companion to Hazel across the game.
It ain't every day I hear about a new weaver such as you.
Yeah, I mean, I like the art
Would
style.
you kindly do your weaver thing
like,
and
it's
help
got a
me
lot
down?
Cool.
Meeting
like,
Catfish
visuals.
marks the true beginning of Hazel's journey. All of Hazel's arsenal and powers are designed around textile crafting and traditional spinning wheels. Her weapons include a spindle, 2 weaving hooks, and a distaff. Her magic abilities manifest with supernatural lace-like patterns, blending the traditional craft with mystical elements. Hazel engages with the world through a variety of movement abilities. Those abilities also help Hazel progress on a journey.
As her journey unfolds, Hazel will master new weaving abilities, using them to traverse the world, conjure objects, and confront adversaries.
Combat is about understanding and adapting to different enemy archetypes known as Aints, the manifestations of corruption Hazel encounters.
These hates trap Hazel in combat until she unravels them, destroying them in the process.
I don't know if it's the frame rate or not, but the,
Each Aint has its own
movement
unique
looks
moveset,
clunky. I
strengths,
can't
and
tell if
weaknesses
it's
that you'll need to learn and adapt to.
just,
For example,
you know,
the slug burrows on the ground
indie.
and unleashes devastating
Even though
strikes
I don't
from
know if they're
afar,
indie or not. They got Xbox money, but
while the Ravager closes the distance.
just like a
with
lower
shitting
budget mocapping, or if it's
Hazel
just the
can
frame
counter
rate,
these threats
rate
with
that makes it
agile
look so
melee
fucking
abilities to
choppy.
execute powerful
Like obviously
combos
it looks choppy because the frame rate, but like just
Jump
the
attacks.
animations look
right.
and charge
weird.
attacks. But close combat is risky and can backfire,
Which also makes the
because
combat
Aints have
not
powerful
look
defensive
smooth.
abilities. Mastering your magical skills become the key to gaining the upper hand in combat. Push, pull, and weave are some of the spells at your disposal that give you a tactical advantage during a fight. Timing is everything. Pull distant enemies close to start melee combos, push them back to interrupt and stun their attack. Then press the advantage with follow-up strikes. Spells interact uniquely with each enemy type, creating dynamic combat scenarios, especially when facing multiple types of opponents at the same time. Once near death, enemies can be unraveled, breaking their core and setting them free of their corruption, which has the added benefit of providing health boosts and reducing ability
I
cooldowns.
can't think of those couple
If you play
games
your
that do stuff
combos
like
right,
that.
you can enhance Hazel's combat
Ghostwire.
readiness and
Yeah.
keep on chaining her abilities. As Hazel progresses in the game, she unlocks new moves and improved abilities, and you'll have to decide which areas to prioritize. The upgrades will change how you approach combat, like enhancing area of effect attacks, or refining push and pull skills to improve precision and make them feel more rewarding. The combat system is fast and responsive, built around chaining attacks, landing precise strikes, and unraveling enemies.
The gameplay looks like okay.
You mind
I
if I
think
take a
the
look around?
most intriguing thing
You
about this
can
game
see
is the
every
art
place
style,
old
and
Molly
the
terrorized and more.
atmosphere.
Now for the low price of $1.
In Hazel's search for her mother, you'll explore multiple regions, each ruled by a mythical creature with their own Southern Gothic history. You'll gradually uncover the backstories of these beings, once human or animal, who were transformed by tragedy, their secrets waiting to be discovered. As a weaver,
Jesus.
Hazel heals these creatures by collecting fragments of haunted memories. We call these echoes, which reveal each creature's past. Hazel must experience these echoes before she can mend them.
What kind of person would do that to someone?
That's kind of a trope in gaming that I'm not a huge fan of.
Region to
It's
reflect
just
the
like
creature
echo
that's been
type
doomed to
stuff where
wander.
you walk up and people are just frozen
From the
there.
atmospheric environment
It's a very
to
Ubisoft
unique
thing, and then you
music
just
theme
listen to them
composed
talk.
for each one. While not all encounters
kinda
lead
played
to
out.
direct combat,
It's like
Hazel will
throwing a
need to face
cutscene
mythical creatures in epic
inside of the
confrontation
gameplay without
before she
like
can evade
forcing you
them.
into a cutscene.
Our boss encounters
Yeah,
and gameplay
or
sequences
having to
also
animate it.
reflects the
It just kind of always
uniqueness
feels
of
lazy
each
to me.
creature, with distinct mechanics that center around a
I'd rather
specific
just listen to
thematic.
a log.
These encounters feature multiple phases that ramp up in complexity.
This all like
As the
super
encounters
cool.
progress,
Yeah, this
the
looks really
musical
cool.
theme builds up, cranking the tension alongside the fight. Whether it's Two-Toed Tom or hugging Molly, each of these larger-than-life creatures is inspired by Southern folklore and lead to climactic battles.
We got a long journey ahead.
South of Midnight unfolds as a hero's journey, and as Hazel, you'll travel through a tapestry of Southern-inspired landscapes. From abysmal swamps to flooded farmlands to the Appalachian peaks. In our magical South, decaying buildings reclaimed by nature stand moments away from a hungry Rugal. And as Hazel delves deeper, reality bends ever more toward the fantastical.
The history, landscape, and folklore of the American Deep South fill our world, and our team has infused the game with thoughtful details and environmental storytelling,
kind of
like
funny,
our
it's
bottle
a
trees and Haint Blue
Canadian
porches, which
company
are said
making
to
a
ward
game
off
about the
evil
American
spirits.
South.
The weight of the past emerges
Yeah.
as central themes,
I
which
mean,
you can see through old abandoned
we have
buildings
companies
and
like
businesses
King
struggling to
George
survive.
Yeah, the first thing I thought of
As you
was
explore, you'll meet locals who stayed behind even in the
Tsushima.
face of a hurricane.
So I'm the last person left here. All those damn haints. This part of the river's filthy with them.
Artistically, we're staying true to our moody compulsion signature style. But this time, we're using a handcrafted approach inspired by stop-motion animation, which allows our team to bring a distinct personality and tone into every prop and character. Because this folklore is open to visual interpretation, we embrace the freedom to reimagine these creatures and their stories, to adapt how they look, and to craft our own version of a fantastical Deep South.
At Compulsion Games, we love to craft around central themes. We are lucky to have talent across all our disciplines that collaborate to give South of Midnight such a unique personality. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into South of Midnight. We're thrilled to announce that the game will launch on April 8th, and pre-orders are now available on Xbox and Steam.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see what people say about it. I don't think I'll be jumping in first to try it, but it looks interesting.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure what Sandfall is.
It's getting real dramatic on their commute to work.
Bonjour, everyone. We are Sunfall Interactive, and welcome to our manor. We are a small studio based in Montpellier, France, working on our first game, Clair Obsur Expedition 33.
Oh yeah, this game. I want to play this.
It's a turn-based RPG set in a fantasy version of late 19th century Belle Epoque France.
I love seeing somebody who's not like a
Our
Japanese
grand
dev
adventure
take a
in game
stab at
development actually
that
started
style.
as a solo
Yeah.
passion
Yeah.
project. I wanted to create something like the JRPGs with turn-based combat I grew up with and loved, but that fully leveraged the latest tech, refreshed the genre with new features, and took place in a compelling world. I knew I needed help to realize my dream. First, I turned to a programmer I knew would get it.
Guillaume and I started trading ideas right away, and that quickly turned into trading files back and forth. Soon, I was creating the first prototypes of the reactive turn-based system, combining real-time offense and defense element, and a cinematic battle camera system. Things really clicked when we tested the first version of those features. We felt we had something both challenging and fun.
As Tom and I went back and forth and iterated on game elements, a vision started to come together, and I shared it with an old friend from university.
Guillaume and I are both passionate gamers, and when he described the project, I quit my job the following week and joined the team without hesitation. Because I believe that in video games, success always starts with a strong creative vision. And we had that, defined by 3 core elements. A story with great emotional depth, gameplay that innovates on the classics we love, and a world that is completely original, beautiful, and immersive. We founded Central Interactive on these tenets. A group of friends with a shared vision and the drive to make something great.
Hesitant?
Yeah.
This too is your legacy.
Core to every great RPG is a compelling story. And Guillaume and I spent 4 years intensively developing and refining ours. And that started with the hook. 67 years ago, a massive slumbering paintress and a monolith appeared with no warning. Once a year, the paintress wakes and paints a number on her monolith, and everyone who has passed that age is erased. Every year, that number ticks down, and everyone dies younger and younger. Expeditions depart to kill the paintress, determined to fight until their final breath, but none have ever returned. Our story follows Expedition 33.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Expeditioners.
Yeah.
We honor your dedication.
Got my attention though. It's an interesting concept.
Guillaume and I knew early on that we didn't want to focus on good versus evil. What's interesting to us are people who, yes, are flawed, but who care deeply about each other. And conflicts arise because they have different perspectives on what needs to be done.
I'm sorry about earlier.
We wanted our story to feel dark and mature, with adult characters who feel like real people with real experiences.
I'm always missing something that everyone else just gets.
The heart of the story is about overcoming an existential threat while struggling with loss and grief. And it's rooted in the characters' relationships, both to each other and to themselves.
What are we gonna do, huh? Tell me. What are we gonna do?
In a world like this, how does one stay hopeful or make peace with their fate? What
I love
duty
the
do we owe
concept,
to each
actually.
other or
Yeah.
to
I
ourselves?
don't think I've really heard of anything
These
like
questions
that.
are deeply
Yeah,
personal to
it's
me,
a cool
and they permeate the
idea.
story behind the story.
Know that Lumiere fights with you. Tomorrow comes Expedition 33.
The characters all have their own motivations and perspectives. Gustave and Lune are deeply invested in the expedition, even if they fight all the time. To them, the mission is tied not only to their family, it's central to their identity and purpose.
Protocol doesn't cover every contingency. You know that.
Contrast that with Ciel, whose darkest days have already happened.
What are the stars whispering to you? Actually, I'm the one whispering to them. It's something my dad and I used to do.
And Maëlle, who cares more about really living her life, not just living longer.
Gustav, are you real?
It's not all dark, though. Along the way, they meet various colorful NPCs and recruit Monoko, who is a friendly but kinda bloodthirsty philosopher and a fully playable character. He has a really cool battle mechanic where he can turn into the enemies he defeats.
What are you doing?
Just need foot. Aha!
He's very, very old and has seen many expeditions come and go. He is a jet troll.
The animations are good.
Beings
I like
who view
the
battle as a form of meditation.
how cinematic it looks.
They're fun and sort of
Yeah,
funny too.
I'm not like in
You
love with
meet
the UI,
Monoko
but that's
and
such a
many other jet trolls
Yeah.
across the game.
I'm playing Metaphor right now. It's got a crazy
And of
fucking
course,
UI.
there is
Obviously, they're not
Escape,
the same, but this is
which is
definitely
one
going
of
for
the oldest
style. Like,
and
there's not much
otherwise
crazy
the
shit
most
going on.
powerful creatures in the verse.
SK is that powerful?
He will be your mount and help you travel to secret
I'm actually pretty
corners of the world.
intrigued. This seems like a game I
And if you bring him back his special
wanna
stones,
play.
you can unlock abilities for him to access new areas of the world and find exciting secrets.
I think it's mostly just trying because of how different it is, and that is intriguing.
Everyone has their
Well, I just love that it's a
own reason for joining the
JRPG
expedition,
not being
and
developed
each of them
by
has
Japanese
their own
dev.
story arc and
Like, it's
resolution
obviously inspired
that
by
we think
JRPGs,
players
but
can
it's
really connect with.
completely different.
Yeah.
In addition to a strong narrative, we had a clear vision for our own take on the genre's core gameplay. Our reactive turn-based system takes the traditional turn-based battle mechanic we love and adds real-time reaction. which gives
Wow,
combat
Super
greater
Nintendo.
intensity and dynamism. During enemy turns, you can negate all damage by dodging or firing at the right time.
Like a dragon.
Balancing turn-based with real-time mechanics took a long time to get right. During initial playtests, turn-based players often found the real-time elements too hard. Some of us are still traumatized by enemies from back then. We've done a lot of rebalancing since, and with a lot of iteration, we ultimately came up with a formula that we're proud of. Players who are good at real-time can take more risks, and others can counterbalance with items and strategies.
It's good they're trying to cater to the
part of that formula
people who are
lies in the many ways
not used to the
you can
action
customize
stuff
your
because
character.
you just built basically an RPG.
Yeah.
We spend
You're going to
a lot of
alienate the
time
people who are
designing
into those
each
kind of games if
character's
they
unique mechanics and their custom
can't
skill
get behind
trees.
the mechanics.
Our philosophy is making every type of playstyle viable so that everyone can have fun with how they play the game. Each character has a unique mechanic. Mel switches between stances which can ultimately boost defense or power. I personally like to make Mel the protector of the group, but I'm pretty much the only one at the studio who plays her that way. Most people play her as a glass cannon with Gustav's complementary skills. The characters can also equip hundreds of passive effects, which in our game are called
Yeah,
Lumina.
I see that. Holy crap.
Every character has more than 20 unique skills in their skill tree and hundreds of passive effects they can gain through Lumina and weapons. So there are a ton of builds and playstyle to explore. Needless to
cool.
say, we can't wait to see how you choose to play and what kinds of build you'll design that we probably never even imagined.
Well, it's a map, and that's gonna make the ultimate meta. So
Yeah.
Our story is set in the French fantasy world, and I was really excited to design something unique. Every level
Yeah, like
has
the art
its own
style.
color and texture identity. For example, the Gestural Village is an early area in the game where players can enjoy a fun break. We wanted something that feels chaotic, grungy, and toy-like. It's basically a bazaar. Everything
Yeah.
is disorganized, chaos everywhere, huts are unsafe, built without much thought. It's a place where anyone could fight you at any point, which is pretty much what the Gestrals are like. The Gestral Village is hidden inside the ancient sanctuary. The ideas here were forest, labyrinth, and sentinels. I designed it as a vibrant place, like an old graveyard of Gestrals, or forgotten wooden toys in a box, with two main colors, red and white. I wanted to make it feel cozy, hidden from danger, with traps and labyrinths in case enemies get in.
The way he's explaining
process with the characters.
his thought
No
process behind
cocaine
this
in a
is if
single
everyone
concept.
would just be like, yeah, it makes
I thought of a
sense.
monkey-like
Sounds like a
body,
fucking alien
white
to me.
fur with a black and red flat mask.
It's weird,
Ladies,
but super intriguing.
could I?
Ow!
Definitely a Gestral.
For SK, we needed a cuddly companion to take us around the world. I thought instantly of a giant inflatable balloon and old Victorian pillows with many intricate motifs. We start with the
Yeah,
core
you
themes
did
and
think of that
ideas,
for
and
sure.
the visuals grow organically from there.
From the very start of the project, there was one thing that we absolutely wanted to bring back from older JRPGs. A feature we really loved, but is very rare these days. A completely 3D and navigable world map. Yes, we've got a world map.
Cool.
And it was a real challenge to create, both artistically and technically. And it ended up a lot bigger than we expected. You'll definitely need SK's help traveling around.
that one
We're super happy with the result, though, as there's a
RPG
lot of side
studio that
paths
made like the
and
three
entire
like
hidden
smaller
levels.
RPGs for
If
Square.
you want to fight the toughest bosses of the game, you will
first one
have to
can't remember
explore.
right now, but-
Good luck.
We've poured our hearts and souls into this game for the past 4 years. That's why we're delighted to announce that Expedition 33 launches on April 24th on Xbox Series X and S and is available day one with Xbox Game Pass.
Nice.
You can already wish the game and follow us for more info.
We are
around
super
the corner.
excited to invite you into the world of Expedition 33. We are a small, passionate team. It's our debut game, and we can't wait for you to discover
It's
our
impressive
story,
looking for a
our
small
world,
team.
and our take on the turn-based genre. On behalf of everyone at Sunfall, thank you for joining us. Tomorrow comes.
Demain viendra.
Tomorrow comes.
Demain viendra.
Demain viendra.
Tomorrow comes.
Yeah, it's gonna suck if that game comes out and it's not I mean, I'll try it anyway, but well received, because I think it looks super fucking promising. It reminds me of that weird time during the Xbox 360 era where they were trying to push like these weird random JRPGs. Yeah, I hope it's good. Looks fucking cool.
Yeah.
Hello, and welcome to Dallas, Texas, home of id Software, where more than 30 years ago, a small team of game developers helped define and set a course for first-person
So
shooters.
weird that it is
A lot has changed since then.
in
but
Dallas,
our team
Texas.
is as
I know they're in
passionate as
Texas,
ever.
but
And the most important
Dallas.
values at the core of our games, innovation, craftsmanship, and performance, remain a priority for us to this day.
And as you're about to see, those values are infused in every aspect of this latest installment in the legendary Doom franchise. It is an honor to work on this game, to carry on id's tradition of creating all-out, groundbreaking levels of fun.
So now, we're excited to share with you a look at our most ambitious game yet. This is Doom: The Dark Ages.
That was so stupid I mouthed the words.
I appreciate what they're doing with Doom right now, but part of me wants them to go back to what, like, revisit what they did with Doom 3 and make it like a horror game. Because Doom 3 was like
Doom:
fucking,
The Dark
when it
Ages,
came out,
you
was
will
like
feel
wild.
like the superweapon in the center of a medieval war against hell. Set in a cinematic sci-fi fantasy world full of locations to explore, powerful weapons to unlock, and enemies to conquer. This is a prequel to Doom 2016, and that's given us the opportunity to
interesting.
reimagine every aspect of this experience. So if you're new to the franchise, then Doom: The Dark Ages will be
That
the
guy's from Dallas,
perfect entry
Texas.
point into the series. And if you're a longtime fan, then you'll be proud to see, in a lot of ways, the feel of the game is really a return to form. So let's break
It's
it
a
down,
clean-looking
starting
game.
with the combat.
I'd be surprised if they
In
didn't make
Doom
a clean
Eternal,
looking
you
game.
felt like a fighter jet. In Doom: The Dark Ages, you'll be an iron tank. Heavy, strong, but still fast. A grounded combat system with an emphasis on power over the acrobatics of Doom Eternal. And a balance between enemy projectiles and player movement speed that makes strafing to aim viable again, just like in the classic Doom games. But it's not all about nostalgia. Innovation is the goal, always. And so for Doom: The Dark Ages, it's an all-new world with new tools and new mechanics to master. Let me introduce you to the Shield Saw. Block. Throw. Parry. Deflect. All from one input. It's contextual, tons of depth on a single button press.
That's kind
You
of
know,
cool
we
that it
want
was like
every
hanging out
Doom
on
game
him.
to stand on its own as a unique experience. So in 2016, we asked you to run and gun. In Doom Eternal, it was jump and shoot. And in Doom: The Dark Ages, you're gonna stand and fight.
You know what it kind of reminds me of, even though that game was inspired by the newer Dooms?
And the Shield Saw will give you the strength to go head to head
what's
with
it?
some of the
What's
biggest,
that fucking
baddest
magic
demons we've
first-person
ever
shooter?
created at id.
Immortals
But that's not all.
of
Because if you're gonna stand and fight,
Oh, I
then
think
you're
I
gonna
know
have
that.
something to follow up that opening parry with. How about an iron flail?
that game.
Or maybe
That
an
was pretty cool.
electrified gauntlet. Or even a Doom spiked mace. That's right, we have 3 melee options that are part of a melee system. All on one input, complete with combos and upgrades.
This
And
definitely
it's
looks
totally
better than
awesome.
the last one for
And you
me,
can finish off the
combat-wise.
demons now with an
Still has all
all-new,
the
unsynced,
really
completely in the player's control.
Yeah, I'm not a
glory
huge fan of
kill
that.
system.
It's a little too
From any angle, in and out,
arcadey,
as you
but
see fit. And it feels amazing. You'll feel unstoppable, smashing your way through the horde with total freedom. And that seems like a ton, but that's just 2 inputs. We got one more really important button that we haven't talked about yet. The trigger.
sounds like fucking Peter Molyneux back in the day when he's talking about Fable.
That's right, we
Buttons
saved
that
the best
do
for
everything.
last. Doom has and always will be all about the guns. And Dark Ages has some of the most
That's a fucking
ridiculously
wild
powerful
setup.
weapons that we've ever created. mean, ancient, brutal torture machines built to butcher,
It's grinding up
impale,
skulls and bones out.
and shred the minions of hell. Ancient, brutal torture machines.
Oh yeah, that's
built
fucking.
to
That's a cool
butcher,
detail.
Impale and shred the minions of hell with. Only in Doom. That's the
What a
mission
weird
statement
gun.
for the design of these never-before-seen, insanely
Metal
fun
as
to
fuck.
use tools of
True.
mayhem that only the Slayer has the power to wield. So let's take
It's
a
a
look
very,
at some extended gameplay
glorified nail
footage
gun there.
and see how these medieval mechanics synergize with the enemies and the environments to form the new combat loop for Doom: The Dark Ages.
I saw the weapons and stuff like that definitely give me like that old school first-person shooter vibe.
Yeah.
This is so like for the sake of fun.
Mm-hmm. I also appreciate that the enemies are ragdolling and jibbing and shit.
Yeah, it feels old school.
Yeah. I think my biggest complaint, it's just a nitpick, it's not like fucking this game sucks, blah blah blah, but I'm not a big fan of like the color inputs to tell you what's happening. It's data, it's information, but it just looks so like it kind of takes away from the art style.
Yeah.
Of everything else when there's these like purple rings and blue
And
shit
under the
flying
hood,
out.
For the first time in an id game, we've made our combat more approachable and flexible than ever before, with a new difficulty system and sliders that will allow players to
interesting.
tune the speed and challenge of the game to whatever fits them best. You can slow things down or speed them up. It's a Doom for all Slayers.
And the gameplay doesn't end with just
That's
the Slayer.
interesting.
We finally have for you, you've been waiting for 2 games now, to get in and pilot your very own 30-story Atlas, which is a mech. It's the size of a
I don't know
building.
if people wait
It's
for that.
powerful.
I-
and you
yeah.
can beat giant Titan-sized demons to death
Been
with
waiting
your
2 games for it,
gauntleted
apparently.
fists. And if that wasn't enough, we also have for you your very own fire-breathing, Gatling gun-toting cybernetic dragon.
Okay.
This is a very
Neither of these are
wild.
one-and-done features either. They have a full suite of abilities and even mini-bosses. The spectacle is epic. The power fantasy is unlike anything we've made it in. And the combat systems behind these features are deep and tons of fun. And as cool as all that
He's
is,
unloaded
we know
on that guy.
fans of single-player action games expect more than just great combat to pull them through the experience. So we're excited to share with you not just the gunplay, but the world of Doom: The Dark Ages. Your hero's journey will take you to the far reaches of the Doom universe. Mysterious worlds from the Slayer's past, dark forests, dungeons, ancient hellscapes, battlefields, and worlds beyond. And through exploration, you'll be unlocking new abilities and godlike powers every step of the way. Now armed with your trusty shield saw, you're gonna cut, leap, and smash your way through environments full of secrets and treasures. There's always something new waiting to be discovered or destroyed. Now let's take a closer look at just one of the many missions you'll experience in Doom: The Dark Ages. In this level, you will meet the enemy at the gates and save a city from certain destruction. Explore the medieval battlefield outside the castle walls, seeking out targets
This
and
fucking
enemy
story
formations
is
along the way
ridiculous.
to engage with as you see fit, with any gun you choose. Explore what is the largest
Yeah, it was
play
a little weird at
space
first,
ever
but
in a
the
Doom
fact
game.
that they're just like
Discovering
going
secret
for it.
caves
Yeah.
Honestly,
and
I'm
dungeon-like
digging
lines in search of vital resources.
this is what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You control the pace of the game. Where you go, who you fight, and the objectives you pursue. It's a Doom sandbox full of war and riches. Once you've broken the enemy assault, head back to the main gates, because the battle isn't over yet.
was listening to that.
And the soundtrack to your epic adventures will be composed by the award-winning team at Finishing Move, providing you with a metal soundscape that's loaded with guitars, medieval vibes, and pure adrenaline. You'll feel like you're expanding the legend of the Slayer with every mission you complete.
I'm digging it, but I don't
And
hear enough
speaking of
working on
that
some of these
legend,
days.
the story of Doom the Dark Ages, like everything else in the game, is big. It's a summer blockbuster event with everything on the line, and you are the star of the show. Your power is coveted by your enemies and withheld from your allies. With the Slayer imprisoned at the start of our story, the balance of power between good and evil is shifting, and time is running out.
Yeah, I didn't know what happened in the last
new
game, but
story
it's a
and the
prequel,
perfect
so
entry point for new players. It's easier to access now as we've taken the narrative out of the codex and into the cutscenes, featuring new characters,
Good.
old allies, and powerful new villains. And for returning players, it leads directly into the Doom 2016 Slayer's Testaments. It's an action story worthy of the
yeah,
Slayer's
Doom's
legend.
storytelling has never been that great, so hopefully they can tell something that's a little more interesting.
We've
than
got
just
10 years
logs.
of making modern
Yeah, I
Doom
think I
games
read,
together. And we've done better
That they're
with
not going to do
every
multiplayer
game
because they
we've
wanted
made.
to completely focus
The
on
hope
making
with all
a
this, the
single-player
goal,
game.
It's fun.
is to give players an experience that's as fun to play as it was to make, and make something that's good enough to become the best game id has ever made.
With the whole
But that
posse going
is
on
for
a
you to
walk here.
decide. When Doom the Dark Ages releases,
Looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's not something that I would personally play, but it does look cool.
I cannot move.
You will feel like the super weapon in the center of a
Also,
medieval
kudos
war
to them
against
for
hell.
showing games that are coming out this year, but also
All
like
of Azel's
right around the
powers
corner.
are designed around
it's all like
textile
first half.
crafting and
Yeah,
spinning wheels.
pretty crazy.
The combat system is built around chaining attacks and unraveling
No, it's good,
enemies.
and also like
Our reactive turn-based
I love
system
to
adds
see game
real-time
announcements and
reaction,
stuff
which
like that,
gives
obviously,
combat
but
greater
sometimes they get a little.
intensity.
He'll like show off all this stuff like in 2 years.
Yep.
Bro.
シリーズおなじみの体術など忍者アクションを駆使して乗り越えていくことになります
Yeah, it's depending on what game it is. If it's like a Kojima game and it's like 2 years later, I'm like, that's fine. He's gonna be working on it for a while. But yeah, some games I don't need to know about too early on. Like, you know, shadow drop your game and then fucking tell me the next one or the other Ninja Gaiden's coming out, you know, in fall.
Yeah,
that's completely reasonable. But yeah, these are all coming out April and May and then fall. Is that it? That is it. All right. Well, general impressions, thoughts.
My general impressions is that they did a very good job of just showing stuff constantly, and all the dev speaking was during footage with some obviously like cutbacks to them because I mean they deserve to be recognized. Don't get me wrong, but I think especially in a lot of like older presentations like this, they'll have like whole segments where it's just them talking, and I'm just like, I'm starting to fall asleep here, guys.
No, this is actually the perfect example of them finding the flow and balance between having too much time listening to the dev talk about themselves and showing gameplay. We even got with the Expedition 33 dev team talking about their origins, but we didn't sit there just focusing on it. We saw
Yes, back and
gameplay.
forth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whoever is organizing and directing these developer directs and putting them together in the edit did a really good job in terms of just like keeping entertaining, keeping the flow going, and giving us information while giving us what we at the end of the day really want to see, which is the games.
Yeah, and all of them showed gameplay. Thank you.
Yep, a lot of gameplay.
I really appreciate that because, like I said, I like an announcement. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it does nothing for me other than like give me an idea of where your head's at, and then like I have to wait and see the gameplay later a lot of times, and it always kind of drives me crazy. This was just like, here's the games. Here's the release dates. Here's some gameplay. Here's some of us talking about it while it's happening in the background as well. It was a good flow. I liked it a lot. They also showed off a bunch of stuff that I thought was interesting. Even if I know I won't play some of them, I did have a general interest in every title they showed, which was also very nice to see.
Yeah, I legit want to play all of these to a certain extent. Was it South of... What is that game called?
The Southern Bayou one?
Yeah, it's South of Midnight.
Yeah.
That one I'm intrigued by, but I'm not fully sold on. But I mean, it looks all right. I think the gameplay just looks kind of like minimal.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't want to say style over substance because I haven't played it, but like that's the vibe I'm getting from it, which isn't necessarily bad. I like a good experience. I just don't know if it's going to be one.
Right.
But like Ninja Gaiden gameplay looked fucking really good. Doom's gameplay looked really good. The Expedition 33 game I'm actually kind of hyped on. I don't want to get like too excited about it because it might suck. I don't know, but what they're showing me looks great. So
that's their first game, right?
I think so. Yeah. So hopefully they nail it because the story was intriguing. I like the graphics. I like the style, and I love they're making a JRPG basically. So yeah, all the games kind of like piggybacking off what you're saying. All of them landed for me.
Yeah.
I even kind of want to pick this up. I'm not even like the biggest Ninja Gaiden guy. Like I like Ninja Gaiden, but I'm not like a huge fan of it. But I haven't played them in a long time either. And that they remade this in Unreal Engine 5 is pretty cool. It looks pretty modern.
Yeah, for sure. And also them just kind of dropping that. Like, here you go.
Yeah.
It's out. So,
yeah, it's an awesome surprise.
Yeah. I don't know if I have a lot more to add to just impressions. I mean, that was basically my impression. Was like they kind of nailed it with the info plus visuals plus like they kind of had a little bit of everything, and it was produced in a way that I never felt one was overdoing it over the other. So
yeah, had a good balance. Like I said, everything here is a game I want to play to a certain extent, which is great. It's also awesome, like I said already, that all these games are coming out this year, and most of them are soon, which is pretty crazy as well. I love to see that there is a mainline sequel to Ninja Gaiden coming out, and it does look cool, and Platinum being a part of that, I think is fucking awesome. Team Ninja already can handle that on their own.
Definitely.
They're very good at what they do when it comes to action games. They've always been really good at that. Platinum's also really good at it though too. So it's kind of crazy that they're like working like they don't need to do that, but they are. So I'm very interested in that.
It's also kind of neat too because like with them collaborating, regardless if the game ends up being good or not, they're going to learn lessons from each other in that regard as well, and it's just going to make them grow as studios in that regard because they both do action games, but they do it a little differently. So
yeah, but they're also kind of similar too because they both make like hyperkinetic, fast-paced combo-based action games too. So it's really interesting to see them kind of come together for that game. So and it's funny too because like Hayabusa is like such a quintessential character of Team Ninja.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if this is planned or whatever, but the other character kind of reminded me of like a Platinum Games character in his design a little bit. He's like a little more sci-fi looking and like. So that was kind of interesting to kind of see that. Like, I don't know if that's intentional or not, but that was a vibe I got from it. So, yeah, pretty cool. I'm hoping this game's good, though. I really like the art style. I think everything, like, visually about it looks really cool. The frame rate thing, I don't know. It doesn't bother me too much, but also it doesn't add much either for me. So it's not like it's not like I'm not sure why they're doing it outside of, they said that they chose to do it, but I'm still not seeing why.
Yeah, my biggest problem with it is like it just looks like it's lagging.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say that earlier. Like in the gameplay, where it looked kind of like it wasn't moving very well. It's like they intentionally made the game lag, basically.
Yeah.
At least that's how it looks when you play it. So I haven't played it, so I don't know how it feels. But but the gameplay also looks like fine. But it looks like a lot of action games. Just the visual style makes it set. When I look at this game, I know what game it is, so that's good. It has an art style. I would never be confused on what game this is at this point. I might forget the name, but I'll know it's that game.
Right.
But I hope the gameplay is more than just, some basic platforming, some basic arena fights, and the boss fights look cool though. The alligator fight looked really cool. So there's some stuff here, and if it's on Game Pass,
larger than life stuff.
Yeah. And if it's on Game Pass, this will be like a good game for people to like try out or whatever. I would hope if you like it, if you have the money to buy it, these devs, should be supported in that way as well. But yeah, this is the only game out of all these that I'm like, I'm curious about it, but I'm not 100% sold on it. But yeah, it's definitely cool in a lot of ways. And then that Expedition 33 game I thought looked cool when they first showed it off. This sold it to me even more, which is pretty cool, especially hearing about the story. It's an intriguing story. I think that sounds pretty cool. It's kind of dark sounding. The turn-based combat also having some action elements to it, I think is cool because the Like a Dragon games have like an action element to their turn-based combat as well, and I think it keeps you engaged in the by the second moments of the turn-based combat.
Yeah.
Whereas like I'm playing Metaphor right now. We'll be talking about that in about a week for Game of the Month, but that's like a turn-based game.
Yeah.
So like you just decide things, it happens, you hope you dodge or you hope you hit or do big damage, but that's it.
Rolling dice,
Yeah, exactly. Whereas like, and traditional, but like when you play like the Like a Dragon games, Infinite Wealth, stuff like that, you are doing that as well, but you're also like deciding to position yourself here to punch them into the wall or grab a weapon and hit them, or when they swing at you to block right at the right time. So it still maintains that actiony feel, and that this game's doing something like that, I think, is a cool compromise between them doing what I think is awesome, trying to make a JRPG, but also going, it's modern times. We could maybe attract more people to play a game they typically wouldn't play with adding action elements, but also I love that they even said that they're thinking about the turn-based players as well, because they don't want to turn them off from going like, you got to be really on top of your skill to be nailing these.
Yeah, and similarly, it also reminds me of like the old like Super Mario RPG.
Yep.
Because like you could do an attack and it was gonna do its thing anyways, but you could get extra out of it by hitting those timings, or like you could dodge or block more damage, if not nullify a hit. But if you were bad at those, combat still just happened, and so like you weren't. The biggest change is going to be you're probably going to need to use items and stuff instead. So, which is very traditional. So,
I also love the art style in this game, and I always love, even if it's like a AA or indie game coming out of like France, outside of Ubisoft. I'm not a huge fan of their art style anymore with most of their games, but there's always like this there's always really cool styles coming out of France when it comes to games and cinema and stuff like that you don't get culturally from other places. And so this has like its own vibe, which I think looks really fucking cool, because it's just like I'm not used to seeing that. It's like when Wukong came out, now you're getting a lot of Chinese developed games, but like China has its own cultural stuff. So like the way they're developing their games and their visuals and the imagination is a flavor we don't get regularly.
Yeah, it's kind of
games.
Funny because I remember, like, sorry, it's a little bit of a tangent, but like growing up, right, watching like a lot of those like I'm probably butchering this, but like wuxia movies and stuff like that, and experiencing a lot of like Chinese like style in that regard, and then it kind of like disappeared, and then now we're getting all these games, so we're getting like reintroduced to like this style. And so like similarly, obviously, like we're a little more accustomed to getting games out of Europe,
so Japan and Western games, and
but yeah, France definitely has its own style. And you even like, I would even say like you get games out of like Sweden. I think a lot of times like they'll be like really good looking, but like they feel very systematic and like almost mechanical. I don't know what word I'm looking
Yeah.
for, but you and then you'll find out it's from Sweden. You're like, oh, that makes a lot of sense, right?
Well, it's just like back in the day, DICE, before they blew up to what they are now, they were talking about how in Sweden the philosophy in game development is gameplay mechanics first. They weren't huge on like
Narratives
building
and
worlds
stuff.
and stuff, but they were really into mechanics and gameplay elements, which you could tell with like Battlefield 3 and 4 for sure. And then it's Notch Swedish.
Yes.
Mojang.
Minecraft.
Yeah, that was another example. So there's a bunch of examples of that. But with the whole conversation, like just getting devs from different places, there's going to be different philosophies you get, and I always love the visuals I see in French developed games outside of Ubisoft games because they're so devoid from anything new and fresh when it comes to ideas. So yeah, I am hopeful on this game. I think it looks really cool.
Yeah.
And then Doom has me hopeful as well, just because the 2016 one I thought was fun. Doom Eternal I thought was good, but it didn't. Something was lost, and even they were talking about how the first game and the second game were like different experiences, which I do agree with.
It was speed, jumping, and now strafing.
Yeah, they're like, you're gonna be standing your ground more here, which I think sounds cool. They've almost like slowed it down a little bit, which I kind of like, because Doom and Quake are completely different things.
yeah.
And so I the whole rip and tear thing, like if you're actually in the combat, in their faces, fighting like this with these crazy weapons, I think that just feels more Doom-esque, and this is definitely looking more appealing to me. And oddly looks like Doom, but also is like really fucking wacky.
Yeah.
But that's fine because they're owning it. There's like, let's go.
Oh yeah, big time.
This reminds me of like a Army of Darkness or something, with the Evil Dead movies, and just being so out there and ridiculous. It's just like, we've gone so far. There's nothing for me to judge here. I'm just gonna play it and just accept the crazy shit that they're offering me. So, yeah, looks fun. But yeah, overall, I think this is a really good developer direct. I think everything was worth watching for the 52 minutes that we sat here. Every game got plenty of spotlight, plenty of gameplay, plenty of dev talk, and very soon release dates, which is great. All this year.
Yeah, and hopefully we see something in a similar vein in the next 4 to 6 months, where maybe they can show us the second half of the year. If they got something in the works, who knows? And if they don't show us something too early. I mean, you don't want to be devoid of like the public and letting us know what's going on as a whole. But I think all this was pleasant just because we're seeing these near finished projects. They're coming out soon. You can actually be, if you're the type to get hyped for things, you can actually start being hyped for these because they're gonna be out soon.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, overall, if I were to grade this, I'd probably give it a. There wasn't a lot here, but I think it was all worthwhile. So I'm gonna give it a soft A-. I think it was a well done presentation. It respected our time and gave us stuff to enjoy looking at, and also to look forward to very soon. So I think it was a well put together presentation.
Yeah, I mean, I would similarly give it an A- for just the construction and the fact that I wasn't thinking about the time. I was entertained. I was getting information. Like, it kind of hit all the right things for me. The only thing, honestly, that would make it higher for me is if it was all games I wanted to play.
Yeah, that's fair.
So,
yeah. All right. Well, we both liked the presentation and had fun watching it. So I'm tired as fuck, and the whole time I was super engaged. So it's definitely worth watching. Let us know in the comments what you guys think about this developer direct. What game stood out to you the most? Are you excited for the next Ninja Gaiden finally getting a sequel? What do you guys think about the new Doom? What do you think about South of Midnight? Expedition 33, biggest highlights for you, maybe some games you're not so interested in, maybe there's some games you're hoping to see in this presentation, and yeah, let us know your general thoughts about everything we watched in the comments below. But that's going to do it for this TLG Reacts. I've been Seth. Thank you for joining me, Chevy, for this. Thank you guys for joining us. Stay tuned. We'll have more episodes coming out soon. Also, go check out Tasty Flicks. We got to go catch up on our anime here soon. And yeah, until next episode, have a good one, guys, and take it easy.